Hi everyone, this is Kayla and I am back today to share another layout, and this is actually the first layout I am sharing this month using the December rainbow kits. So I started out, I cut out the three hot air balloons from the July 2017 store cut files from the Click Kit shop, and when I cut them out, they're very delicate, and the outline of the actual balloon itself was just too thin for what I wanted. I wanted to back them, and so it because the lines were so thin, I didn't think I was going to be able to back them very easily. Um, if I wasn't going to back them, they would have been gorgeous because they're very delicate. But since I wanted to, I went ahead and rather than trying to figure out how to make it thicker on my Cricut, I just uh, used a few little micro glue dots and then attached it to a piece of white cardstock. And I'm just tracing around it, but making sure to keep wider lines for each of them. So you can see here, I've traced it, and then like I said, I just added extra space to make sure I had thick enough lines to be able to glue paper behind them. And then now that it's traced, all I'm going to do is take my X-Acto knife and fussy cutting scissors and get the shapes cut out so that I can go ahead and back them. And all three of the hot air balloons are exactly like you would see if you just cut them out straight from your Cricut. Again, I just went ahead and widened the lines of the balloon envelope itself, especially, so that I could go ahead and back them. So here they are. These are the three that you would get in that month's cut file. And I've just gone ahead and traced them and cut them out so that they had wider lines. And I'm going to use some of the papers from the Traveler's Notebook kit, as well as this main exclusive paper from the main kit to back each of the cut files. So on this one, I ran into a little bit of difficulty. So I loved the rainbow kind of ombre pattern going on in the background. The only problem was I didn't really want the world map on it. So I was like, okay, I'm not sure how I'm gonna get the orange and the yellow and green in there. But for now, I just kind of start with the pink and the orangish pink colors, and then the other, the blue and the teal, and start backing those. And I figure, you know what, I'll just figure out the middle couple stripes as I go. So I'm not doing anything that's super new here. I'm sure you've seen a lot of people do this, but I'm just cutting out some pieces and um, gluing them onto the back, and then I'm going to use my fussy cutting scissors there to trim it up so that it is only back to the spaces that I want it to be. And like I said, I really liked that rainbow ombre look, and so that's kind of what I'm going to try and do here with this balloon, is make it fade from a pink reddish color over to the blue almost indigo color, like a rainbow. So like I said, I kind of went back to the yellow there, gave up. I'm just going to worry about the teal and the blue for right now. I'm going to do the same thing that I just did to the other side. Just cut out a chunk and get it glued down, and then fussy cut around the edges to get it all nice and trimmed up. And then I'm going to end up bringing the paper back, and at first I thought, well, maybe I'll just go ahead and use some of the white in the spaces. But when I was doing that, I felt like it distracted from the actual ombre look that I was trying to go for. And I had wanted it to go very much straight across as the paper does, so from pink all the way down to blue. What I end up doing though is just turning it slightly So it's more, I don't know how to describe it, more horizontal, I guess. Basically, meaning that, as you can see here, I'm going to have 3 color variations basically within one of the strips of the balloon. But I think in the end it actually looks fairly nice. So I try to turn it so that it almost looks like it's got this little, I don't know, twist in the middle of it. And I go ahead and glue it down, and I do my best to try not to get any of the white space in there. In the very last little column, you will see just a few tiny dots. Well, you may not be able to see on the camera, but there are just a few little spots. But the good thing is the background kind of has a very bit of a distressed feeling to it anyways. So I think you don't really notice it. It just kind of looks like it's supposed to be there. So trying to find the perfect spot here where I can get something without all the white space. And I do succeed, and I get the other two backed, which you'll see here in a little bit. So this month, Click Kits has another color kit, and they are featuring products from Shimmers. So as I just showed you there, you'll get a Shimmers colorings in Heidi Ho Blue, and then you also get a colorings in Pink Stiletto and a colorings in Little Yellow School Bus. Now, I didn't actually get the color kit this month because I had those 3 colors of Shimmers in my stash already, but you'll get all 3 of those colors as well as a different stencil. So this stencil I'm using is from my stash, but the stencil that you'll get is kind of a starburst effect from Catherine Pooler stamps. And there are still some available in the shop, so be sure to go check those out if you would like one, and get it soon so it can ship with your December kit. But as I said, this cloud stencil is from my stash, and I'm using the Heidi Ho Blue to just kind of spritz on some clouds. And it seeps under just a bit, and they're not like super crisp, but I'm okay with that because I'm just adding them to the background for something so it's not just so white. And I do keep going around my page here and adding a bunch, and I don't make you watch all of it, but I just kind of wanted you to see what I was doing. And this was easy enough. Like I said, you just add a few napkins or some paper towels or something to soak up some of the extra spray so you're not getting that square effect. But here, I'm actually not caring as much because I'm going to end up fussy cutting these clouds out. So I just wanted the shape of the cloud so that I can cut out a few of them to add to the paper. So I'm not worrying too much on this because it's just a scratch piece of paper that I'll end up cutting out the shapes from. So it doesn't need to be perfect. Now, here are my 3 balloons, and I've got them all backed with the colors. I love how colorful this month's kit is. I love the rainbow effect. So I wanted to do something to the baskets because I feel like they're just a little bit too much white. So I took a Nuvo glue pen, and I'm covering the baskets. And once you get them covered, you just let them dry for a few minutes until the glue is dry. But the glue dries tacky, so it will still be sticky even though it's dried. So I'm getting all of these covered, and then once they've dried, I'm going to use some Heidi Swapp foil. Now, the foil is meant to be used with her Mink machine, just like deco foil usually is meant to be used with a laminator of some sort. But with this tacky glue, or this Nuvo glue, or any glue really that dries tacky, because it's tacky, when you put the foil down, it actually adheres to it and it stays. And you don't need the laminator or the Mink machine or anything like that. So as you can see here, I'm just pushing it down onto the basket. I used a little tool I have to rub it off, and it's covered. So I did it to all 3 baskets, and I like that a lot better. I think it kind of just gives it a little more definition. And even though it's gold foil, it actually I think goes pretty well with the two ephemera pieces that I put up there at the top that have kind of a brownish gold basket to it. And then that little tiny blue hot air balloon up at the very, very top right is actually one from the exclusive sticker sheet from the main December kit. So I'm going to go ahead and this is pretty much the placement I'm going to have for all the hot air balloons. And I'm going to get some of them glued down straight to the paper like this one. And then the biggest one that's off the page right now and the one to the right there that has a gold basket that I backed, those two I'm going to pop off the page with some craft foam. So this is just some cheap craft foam from Walmart, but you could get it, I'm sure any craft store would carry it. I think it's technically meant for kids, but it's great for adhering to a shape that you want to pop off the page to give some dimension. So I just cut the piece that I need to the shape that I need and add some glue. I don't use my Scotch Tacky Dry glue because I find that the foam tends to soak up liquid adhesive, so I try and use either my ATG or in this case I'm using some runner tape from Tombow, and I feel like that helps make it so it actually stays and doesn't adhere the tape or soak up the tape, excuse me. So I've got all the balloons down and those two are popped up with foam or the foam craft foam. And then I'm going to be documenting these three pictures here, and they all are from a balloon classic from a couple years ago in 2016. I actually grew up next to a hot air balloon field, literally right next door. I mean, my parents shared a fence line with the field. And I've been in a hot air balloon for rides and helped crew and set up and take down balloons before, and it's just a really fun experience. And at this time I was just sitting in my parents' back porch watching the balloons fly over for the classic that they have every year where a bunch of people come from out of town and they have a big event. It's not nearly as big as some of the famous ones like in Albuquerque, but it's still great for my small hometown. So I kind of am placing the pictures in a way that it looks like they're semi-floating with the rest of the balloons I have on the page already. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue those straight to the page because I have the other two balloons popped up. I'm just keeping these ones flat on the page because I didn't feel I needed really any dimension for the pictures. And sorry I'm kind of off screen right here, but I do get it all straightened back up so that I'm on the video again. Once I get those glued down, I am gonna go ahead and take some scissors and just trim off the edges there so that they're flush with the side of the paper. And then my title is just going to be Up, Up, and Away, and it's this die cut piece that comes in the ephemera pack for the main kit, actually. And again, I didn't feel I needed more dimension because the balloon right next to it is popped up. So I'm just gluing that straight down. And then I am going to bring in a little bit more dimension to the page with those clouds that I spray painted earlier. So I've already taken them off from that scratch paper and fussy cut them. And I'm not going to use all of them, but I'm going to use a few here. And like I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and pop all those up just using the same craft foam that I did for the two balloons. So I cut most of that part out because you've already seen me back one of the balloons and stick it down. And then that gives a little more dimension besides having just the two balloons. So I've got those popped up and glued down. I'm just looking for a last finishing touch here, And I'm going to just cut out one of these labels from Pretty Little Studio. It's from the Savannah Dreams collection, and these labels come in the main kit. And I'm gonna just cut this little pink one out. And again, I'm sorry I'm off screen a little bit, but I'm just fussy cutting the label out, so you're not really missing anything new or anything like that. And once I get it fussy cut, I'm going to adhere it at the very bottom. Um, I kind of go back and forth between the middle and the right, and I end up doing the bottom right. And I'm just going to glue the top half on because I wanted to cut off the bottom so it looks like it was just peeking onto the paper. And then all I'm going to put is just National Balloon Classic 2016, just so I remember which year these balloon photos are from. And that's pretty much going to wrap it up for me. I didn't feel like I needed really anything else because I felt like the balloons and the clouds really kind of took over the page. So that's it. And I've got some pictures here with some close-ups. I hope you've enjoyed, and check back next week as I'll have another layout with the December kits up on the YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching and have a great week. Bye-bye.